Hello everyone and welcome to episode 41 of the Scottish Silverback Podcast. And we're joined by a guest, finally, I think it's the first guest this year, Dr. China Green, IFBB Pro. And it's good to get another kind of female perspective on the podcast because we've had a few on so far, and it's great to kind of get obviously the female side of the industry, the female side of competing and stuff like that. So yeah, China, for people who don't know you, I think it's the first time we've met. I think Jack's first time we've met you as well. If you want to give us a kind of lowdown about your competitive history, what you do, your background, things like that.
Yeah, thanks guys for having me on. I am China. I am an IFBB figure pro, turned pro last year. To be honest, I've not got a massive competitive career. I only started bodybuilding in 2019. I literally didn't do an off season, jumped in a PCA show in 2019, won it somehow. Did PCA finals in tone figure, came second. And then, yeah, just competed twice last year, 3 times. Well, I competed twice officially. I did a pro show, like on the whim, straight after. So yeah, and turned pro straight away in figure. So yeah.
So a very quick rise.
It's been a bit of a whirlwind, yeah. Like it's been a bit of a whirlwind of a few years, to be honest. My career's moved quite quick. But yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah,
got my pro debut. I've done a pro debut, but I don't really class it as my pro debut because I literally came off stage and 10 minutes later went back on and did a pro debut. So it really wasn't a pro debut. So I've got like my official pro debut this year. So I'm doing Budapest this year.
Nice. When's that?
October.
Cool.
Yeah.
So deep in off season just now then?
Deep in off season now, yeah. To be fair, I was only meant to compete in 2024, and then Cal was like, I'm coached by Cal. Cal, my coach, I went to see him for a bit of an in-person check-in, and then on a whim, he was like, "Oh no, we'll just compete in October instead." And I was like, "Okay, okay, all right, that's fine." So he was like, we'll do October, Budapest, Romania, and then if I'm in touching distance of actually doing well, then we might do Prague the week after. If I'm nowhere near, then we'll go back to the drawing board and then compete again in 24. So yeah, that's me.
What I'll do is for people watching, I'll load up your Instagram, just so people can have a look at you. So yeah, you said you have background in gymnastics as well. Is it gymnastics you thought?
Yeah,
gymnastics. Yeah.
I have a history in competitive sport. As a kid, I used to do gymnastics for Great Britain as a child until I was like 16, 17. And then I also used to ski for Great Britain as well. So I have a history of like competing at a high level. Yeah. But then I just didn't do anything for years. And then 2019 was like, I need to start. Literally what happened was I was like, I need to start my life out. I need to stop drinking a bottle of wine every night. And now I'm going to sign up to a bodybuilding show. And then to be fair, I fell in love with it after that. Like for me, it was like, I need to sort my life out. Had no idea. I mean, I went on holiday halfway through my first prep because I didn't have a clue about it. And then I fell in love with it after that. Like, I got like a coach and like learned how to train properly, and then thought, I'm actually quite good at this.
It's good to see kind of like, I think a few people see, especially when they're doing their first show, their first season, they have these like humongous expectations going in. And obviously you went in, obviously it's a very positive thing moving in, but you've not like put the world at your feet, you know what I mean? Like you've just kind of gone, right, I'm going to do this, see how it goes and go from there.
I was very naive. To be fair, I think the more you learn about bodybuilding, I think the worse it gets because the more complicated you make it. I wish sometimes I could go back to my 2019 mindset where I didn't know anything because I was just so chilled about everything.
And so like zero expectations of what to achieve.
I thought I was going to win. Like, don't get me wrong, I wanted to win, but I have no idea how I won because I went on holiday at like 8 weeks out. Like I did it. But
we've touched on that before about how guys and girls nowadays, like the younger people coming up through the ranks, they're kind of going straight to that like minutia detail of like preps. and the stuff that you just said kind of makes you kind of have to think more, and then that sometimes leads to overthinking, and before you know it, you've got all these young people who are kind of thrown off from the very get-go, and they've not just kind of enjoyed the kind of initial kind of first couple of years competing.
I know. Yeah, I think I definitely, if I could go back, I would never advise anyone to compete as soon as I did. Like, I literally did it because I was naive and I didn't have a clue. I mean, I signed up to a show and didn't even tell this guy who was coaching me at the time it wasn't a good idea, but it worked for me. But I would never advise anyone to do that again. But, you know, I fell in love with it after that. But I think a lot of people do massively do it for the wrong reasons. And I just love training. Like, bodybuilding and the stage is just, it's kind of like the end result, but for me, I just absolutely love training. Like, I love.
You've said that so many times. That's like a common theme of actually good people stand on stage, is because they love the process, they love what gets them to the stage. The stage is just like a byproduct of what we actually do. And when you can fall in love with that and actually be obsessed with that, then of course the outcome's going to be a good one. It's going to be a great way to look the best on stage, because you love that process of going through it.
It's so translatable to what I loved about bodybuilding. What I fell in love with bodybuilding is the kind of like the mindset skills, which are so translatable to the rest of your life, you know. And I don't know, like the discipline and the resilience that you can apply to everything. Like, whether that be whatever. I mean, I apply it to dentistry and all that. Like, it just has completely transformed my mindset, and that's what I love about it. And there's channeling that, I don't know, I think when you tap into those dark places in training, and I don't know what, I just love it. Like, and I think if you can do that, your physique, I think that is how I've developed my physique as I have in a short space of time, just being able to like train like an animal, like, you know, and enjoy it though, and it's mad. Like, I don't think like a lot of girls in particular, maybe I'm being stereotypical, but I feel like from training with other girls, like a lot of girls don't take themselves to those places, you know, in training. And I think it's so important to do that, and to be able to develop your physique, and also to tap into that mindset that you need to create for bodybuilding. Because it is an extreme sport and people don't treat it like that.
No, agreed.
It's that's the way I describe it. I describe competing as a side effect of training.
It is.
Like, I'd still be training the way that I train now, and eating the way I do to try and achieve like the sessions that I want to achieve. And I think that's just when you see people on prep and they're absolutely hanging, and especially all of us as coaches, they come to you and they say, oh, like, I allowed my fatigue to get the better of me, I allowed my tiredness to get the better of me and stuff like that. But when you have that love and that passion of training prior to coming into like a contest prep, those moments end up being very easy to deal with, and you'll never let those kind of get a hold of you. And that's usually where the best competitors come from, because, for instance, like all of us, I'm sure, have been in like a deep hole in prep where like you think, God, I've still got another 8 hours in my day to try and get through. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but the training never suffers. The training is always that thing that remains that kind of that solid foundation. And I think from what I've seen from the girls that I've coached, it's like some of them haven't quite yet developed that love of training yet. They haven't found a style that works for them. They haven't found a split that works for them, things like that. And I think that needs to be in place prior to going into that contest prep for sure. Otherwise, it's going to be a fucking tough time from start to finish.
I think as well, if you've come from a history of like, you know, high level competitive sport as a kid, like if you've grown, I don't know, like for me, like gymnastics, right? There was a lot of discipline involved in that. And I think that is easily translatable into bodybuilding if you've got that kind of background. I think people are a lot more easily able to train better and translate that into a prep than someone who has got no history of sport in the life, you know, or no history of discipline like that. So I think that's how I was able to kind of like fall into it and fall in love with it so quickly.
You've said that many times. You need that thing you've had before this, almost to have that switch where you know how to like apply yourself, train hard, like discipline yourself into like another sports. When it comes to this, you've been there before, and
Yeah.
And that switch gets flicked back on, you can do it again.
Because people just can't take, I think I don't think you can't teach people to go to that place.
100%.
You just can't teach it. You've either got it or you've not. You've either got a bit of a screw loose or you've not. You know, it is a bit of a screw loose. It's not normal, is it, what we do?
No, it's not.
Not normal. And those places that you go to are not normal places. But that's what makes us, you know, top level competitive bodybuilders. So
When you go.
I was going to say, you've obviously achieved a lot in a very short amount of time. And juggling a professional career, how did you find managing the two side by side? Or did you manage juggling the two side by side?
I don't. But put it this way, dentistry and competitive bodybuilding are not conducive. But, and I think going through that last prep, which was hard, I learned a lot from it. It absolutely killed me at times. But, you know, it was hard. There is no denying that it was incredibly hard, because at the end of the day, there's no shying away from the fact that my professional job is the most important thing. Like, I have to be on my A game mentally, whether I'm 1 week out or in off season. There has to be no mental change there. And I, at the time, found that pressure, I found it incredibly stressful. Because I was like, I question my ability to still perform all the time. Because you know what it's like, you know, you're 2 weeks out, you've got horrendous brain fog, and I've got patients going, you know, asking me questions, and I'm having to ask them questions 4 times because I forgot what they've said, you know. And that's but now I think, because I've been through it once and I know I can do it, going through it again will be so much better. Yes, it was incredibly difficult, but it's just time,
especially as a medical professional, like, as well.
It's
imagine, like, here's the drill, here's the clean, going in.
It's not even, even funny. It's not even funny, honestly. The worst thing is patients thought I was ill. They were all thought I was ill and were asking questions like, am I ill? And also, the worst thing is I don't see people for 6 months. So, like, I'll see them and then they're like, I'll see them now and I'm like, what, 15 kilos heavier? And they were like, oh, I saw China last time. And I'm like, that's me. It's huge now. Because they don't know, do they? Like, they've got no idea. Well, some of them do. But yeah, it was just, I think in my head, it was like, I wanted my pro card and there was nothing I was going to not do to get that. So whether I was a dentist or whether I wasn't a dentist, I was getting all that done, you know, as I was just running around on my lunch break, getting my steps in, and I just didn't have a minute to breathe. But there was no question that I wasn't going to do what it took to get that pro card. So it was hard, but I'll do it again.
I guess that's why you are where you are in such a short space of time. You know, that mindset is just kind of carried you through so well. So
Ali, my boyfriend, says to me, I'm too relentless.
Too relentless.
Yeah, it's like, it's just one of those things.
Just for those watching, we'll just run through. So I remember Cal reposting your photos in your last prep. And like, I think he'd mentioned a few times in his captions and stuff, like how little time you'd actually been training. And I was like, that's fucking mental. So when was this one?
This was about just before my Wigan show. I think I can't remember. Probably a few weeks out. About probably 5 or 6 weeks out, something like that. There.
Yeah.
But like that, if you go up, that was on show day in Wigan. That was like me in 2019.
This one.
Yeah. That's where I started in 2019. And that was me in 2022.
Yeah, some transformation.
I was like 60 kilos there. And then I think I was like 63 on stage.
Yeah, that level of transformation is just, surely that's been like shared and you've been tagged like 1 million times off the back of that one.
I know. I think, it is mad. I can't even imagine myself looking back, like thinking I used to look like that. But I never went into this thinking I want to be an IFBB pro. I genuinely went into this thinking I need to stop drinking wine every night. That's how it started. I signed up to a show because I was like, I need something to stop me going to the shop to buy a bottle of wine. That's how it started. And then we're just here now. So
and now you're one win away from Mr. Olympia appearance.
Hopefully.
There's just no way you can do that in 3 years without.
I know that is what dentistry and that face is what dentistry and bodybuilding does combined. Honestly, that's just taken years off my life. Did it? Patients thought I was ill all the time.
No, it's definitely incredible progress here. So
thank you.
So obviously we know the game plan that you laid out for us at the start. Obviously to try and get that first pro win, and get the Olympia stage. So what in terms of your off season just now, because I'm always interested to hear about how girls like set up their off seasons and stuff. So what is it you and Cal thought you had to kind of like improve and bring up?
So my feedback was I needed from my last show that I needed more top line and that my waist can't get any bigger. I was like, okay, great.
Right, okay.
But I just needed more top line really. And he said just more, my legs needed to be more conditioned really. But I think when we looked back I think there's a difference between the look between trying to get your pro card and then trying to get a pro win. And because I did them back to back to get me, the girls were a lot leaner. They were leaner and harder, So I think had I have gone for a different look, I could probably achieve that. So I just needed more top line. So I've been training like more kind of like chest and delts. And that was it really. And more hamstrings, because I have 0 hamstrings. My hamstrings are shit. Absolutely shit. And I need to start training properly because I like to lift heavy weights. So I needed to start training with a little bit more accuracy.
Yeah, stuff like basically like training like A to B basically.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah. And my boyfriend, he goes mad at me because he loves it, loves. He's like the execution king, where I'm like, I just like lifting heavy shit. So I need to like marry the two together and actually start being a little bit more accurate and not an idiot. So I only train 4 days a week because I can't manage anymore. So from a recovery perspective, I think that's more from my work as well. So we're training 4 days a week. My split is currently push, pull, which is pull just like a back day, not really, no hip hinge, posterior, and then lower and delts. I'm literally training delts every session now, so just try and build my delts up.
Like me.
Yeah, literally, I have delts every session. But
were you quite naturally strong, or did you just like fall in love with that style of training and just progress strength?
I've always been strong, like I think I did acrobatic gymnastics as a kid, so that's like lifting people up in the air. So I've always been strong, even from being a child. And when I started training, I was strong, but I loved it. It like started what I buzz off, So I'd have loved to do powerlifting like now, but I don't want to be massive all the time. So
who do you look up to just now? Because when I look at figure at the top level, at the Olympia level, there's such a disparity between like the top 6, the top 10. Each physique, it looks slightly different. They have a different kind of package. They have a different kind
They are so different. I know.
You know what I mean?
So many different things get rewarded as well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I definitely want to remain like looking like. I think some of the girls look very. This is going to sound bad, but look very chemically made. I don't want to look like that, and I know probably no one does, but I don't want to look like that. And I definitely want to still keep. I think you do still definitely get rewarded at the top level for keeping your femininity, and that's definitely something that I want to do.
And that's an important kind of factor to play in, because we know that we know what's goes on in bodybuilding. We talk about it on all the time on the podcast and stuff. And I think there is a lot of, this is what we said to Erin and Alex, that there's still a lot of like misinformation. There's still a lot of girls who don't quite understand what they're getting into when it comes to that kind of side of competing and physique development. And I think the more people that are locked in, you know, that's just going to be more like it's more advantageous. We don't want, they're not rewarding those kind of looks.
No, they're not. I think
you know what I mean?
Figure's like one of those things. It's a bit like classic where you've either got the shape or you haven't. And I think certain people you could try to create a physique on a frame that it's not going to be created on, so you end up looking whereas you've got that tiny waist to begin with, and you've got that shape naturally, then you can build upon that. But if you haven't, it's very hard to chemically make that. And I think
you've got the structure.
If you got the structure, and I think that was my feedback, is that I know, like, my feedback was that I have got that structure, because there was some girls that I competed against in the pro show who had a lot more muscle mass than me, but they just didn't have that structure. You know, they were more conditioned than I was, but I'm fortunate enough to have that structure. So hopefully we just keep building upon that, really. I did the pro show, I wasn't too out of place. I wasn't too far away, really. You know?
A few episodes ago, we had the kind of debate about, well, it wasn't really a debate, but about girls who are moving into wellness when they a lot of them have like no place actually being in wellness, because what my opinion on it is that you have some girls who were figure or even like physique and fitness who I think they want that kind of label of like bikini. They want kind of like, I think like they think there's this like sort of mystique behind wellness, and you've got girls doing wellness classes now that are way more suited to being figure or way more suited to being physique or fitness. And like that's kind of what we kind of went back and forth with.
I think
it's to know your physique.
I think that's where the structure thing comes into it, though, because I think you could probably turn pro with a, you know, an okay structure, but to get to a top level, like, I don't think you can. And I think they can go into other categories where you don't quite need that, you know.
I think
so what you're saying is, if you've got no genetic structure, don't bother.
No, not really. But if you look at like the top 6 Olympians, right, they've got the smallest waist in the world. Because you can't create a small, you've either got a small waist or you haven't got a small waist. Have you? Do you know what I mean? No matter how big you make your lats, all right, you can create that illusion to a certain extent, but if your waist isn't tiny, it's not tiny. You know?
It's the same when guys like think they're classic when they're not.
I know.
It's like, you know what I mean? It's the same kind of like thing. That's what we're seeing in kind of male bodybuilding as well, is that, you know, we have obviously everyone's man crush like Chris Bumstead like at the top just now, and I think much like kind of like bikini, the way that girls look up to that, there's a lot of guys that are looking up to the likes of like Chris Bumstead and Urs and whatnot, and they're kind of going, I want to be that, and a lot of them need to be told that you're not that. You know, you're open bodybuilding, like focus on that. It's going to take you a wee bit more time, maybe it's going to take you kind of 2, 3, 4 years to kind of push to where you need to be. But I think a lot of guys are kind of falling to that as well. Like, I mean, you go to any PCA show and you'll see guys in the classic class. Granted, PCA is slightly different with the entry requirements for that, but it's like, just accept you're a bodybuilder. Just accept you're a bodybuilder and go and do open bodybuilding. So that's kind of like
it's a stepping stone, though, instead of like a class. Do you know what I mean?
They don't feel they're there yet, or like they're not at the weight they need to be. So as you said, it's like almost like, oh, I'll just do this because I'm close to that because I'm not there yet. But you're still not like the genetically, or you're not shaped how you should be for classic. It doesn't work like that. It's not like in bodybuilding where there's like obviously weight caps where you can just, I think I'll go into classics as close to that. It's not the same.
But I guess also people, you know, if you're brand new to the sport, these are all things that you learn as you progress through the sport. You know, these people who just want to compete, that's cool. But you've got to find your class, which can take time, you know. can take time. You got to stand on
100%.
stage and be judged, and then be like, okay, this is no, I'm not suited, for you to actually know, because you've got no idea until you stand on that stage and stand against other people at all.
Yeah, 100%. So with another question I like to know as well is like, what kind of food are we talking just now? We talking like super high? What kind of off seasons do you? Well, the off season kind of big for us off season, but
yeah, my food never gets super high, but I also think, don't tell Carl, I do have a lot of snacks on top of my food.
So does Greg.
Yeah, my food at like 3,500 at the moment, plus snacks. I'm probably not the most I'm not the most I am very adherent. I'll eat all my food, but if I want something, I'll have it, you know?
Yeah.
Because in my head, I'm like, look, these gains are got to be made anyway. And when it's prep, my head is down and there's no stone left.
Yeah.
I don't want to put it this way, I don't want to get to prep and be like, I wish I had that. That's always my thinking. Right. So my food's at like 3,500 now, and it never gets super high, to be honest.
You don't have the snacks, it'd be like 5,000 a day.
It probably is, yes. It probably is, and I hope Cal's not listening. Because, like, you know what, like, my boyfriend said to me, he was like, well, why don't you just, you know, not have the snacks and up your food? I'm like, well, I don't know what snacks I want on the day. Like, so right. I just, you know, I don't know, some days I might want a grenade bar, some days I might want some Milky Bar, I don't know.
Yeah.
So
100%. You got to live free.
I'm probably not the
best
pro in off season, but like it works for me. So, and I also think, from like, I don't know, some people are like really on it all the time, and I get that. And if that works for you, great. But I don't believe anybody can be a robot 365 days a year completely and be 100%. Not a chance.
Yeah.
Well, not me anyway. Yeah. I can't. And so.
Patrick Tour wants that, yeah, Andy.
What?
Patrick Tour wanted that. Not like the cheap ones.
Yeah.
I needed subtitles for that bit.
I think I had, working with Patrick, I think it was like 3 or 4 cheats the entire time in a year. Just under a year. But that wasn't because he was like no cheats, but it was just because you knew it was Patrick Tour and you're like, okay, I guess that since he's not mentioned anything, like, can't really have anything. You hear all his clients not eating shit, and then he's on podcasts going, if you need a cheat, you're a pussy. Remember he said that to Fuad when he had them on his podcast. I was like, right, well, I'm definitely not telling him that I've had something to eat. So, but yeah, I agree. Like, if you want to have something, have something.
That's what I think. If you want longevity in this sport as well, again, this is for me. If you want to have longevity in this sport, it's got to be sustainable. And I like, you know, little snacks even there. So if you take that away from me, I might not have long left in this sport.
Yeah, I'm done.
So for them 20 weeks, I can give up my snackies.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing for me is like, I know exactly the place I can put myself in a contest prep.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you know what, I'm not going to feel bad if I have X, Y, Z in the off season. So just one of those ones, isn't it? So no, that's cool. Greg, where are you sitting prep wise now? I know you've been
9.5 weeks out.
Really, 9.5. Yeah. You want to talk us through everything you text me on a daily basis?
Things have actually quite sped up over the last 2 weeks. I would have said I was sitting at like 130 for a couple of weeks, but I was like, composition was changing a little bit, and then Carl's like, right, we'll put a little shift in. So you added in a little bit of clen, L-carnitine, like I said, and then just dropped food by like a 500, and my body just fucking went into overdrive. It's just like been dropping like mad. So I was 125 this morning, so like 5 kilos in 2 weeks. Yeah, but like I feel good. I can smash cardio. Training's like I've got stronger in training. Obviously fitness and endurance has picked up a lot, so nothing's kind of dropped off that side of things, and composition's just like changing every 3 days. What you'd expect to see like at the back end of prep, I'm pretty much seeing that like 9 weeks out. So like you would expect like maybe see a change every week, but I'm seeing like quite big changes every 3 days. So it's starting to move. So it's exciting. But obviously Carl gave me another cheat meal last night just because my weight was dropping too quick. And he obviously didn't want to change it now. So he was just like, just go over another burger and fries. And my weight went up like 0.5 a kilo this morning. So it's holding. But we'll just see obviously what happens the next few days. But no, it's going smooth.
I'm so jealous of your cheat meals on prep.
I was just going to ask you if you.
I did not have one. Do you know what? I'm going to put a formal complaint into Cal. I didn't have one in 22 weeks.
So just tell you to get bigger.
Yeah, one of my clients like that. She said that she was like, everyone gets cheats. Why don't I? Like, number one, who's everyone? Is it the one person you follow that gets a cheat meal? Like, it causes so much disruption when you have clients when they're like, "Oh, so and so's doing this, so and so's doing that." It's like, or with my own clients where it's just like, you know, they're just saying, "Oh, I know you gave so and so a cheat. Why you give him a cheat and not me?" And it's just like, would you like? Yeah, probably a wee bit. Yeah,
I've never posted a cheat meal. I don't think I've ever went on my Instagram story and go, "Oh, look, having a cheat meal night," because I could not be fucked with the people going, "Oh my god, you're on prep. Why are you eating that?" It's like, I can't be asked those questions. Like, I'll just fucking eat it.
Do you not find them really anticlimactic anyway on prep?
What?
You bring it up in your head and it happens and it's not
No.
that great.
What? No way. That burger was mint last night. What are you talking about?
You're in the big city. You've got good burger places.
Yeah, that's true. You have to fucking like cook your own up there. There's no shops.
I've got to go and kill the fucking cow and cook it myself.
Skin the cow.
No, I remember like I didn't do cheats 2021, 2022, but in 2019 I did one every week. And I remember I don't know if you've been at Greg. What?
That's why I beat you, because you were a cheat meal.
Probably. I was fat at the Arnold UK, I'll give you that. I don't know, Greg, I don't know if you've been in the Five Guys in St Vincent Street in Glasgow, but like there's a downstairs bit. Yeah. Aye. And I'd just go downstairs, I'd turn my phone off, and I'd just sit there and eat one chip, just one at a time. It was the fucking just
like a euphoric.
Just so like when Jack says that, I'm like, fuck off, no. I couldn't wait. I remember I'd run down Buchanan Street just to get to this Five Guys and just sit there on my own, no phone, with one chip at a time. And mate, I'd be actually so emotional when it was done. So emotional.
Yeah.
Did you not find you were like ridiculously hungry after it though?
The next
I mean, like I feel like if I had like a cheat meal on prep, like I would not be able to stop thinking about that food for weeks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like post show, like, so if I had like I'd want to refeed on prep rather than a cheat meal, because I feel like I wouldn't be able to switch off from it mentally.
Yeah. I agree.
I can do both.
Yeah, that's
because you have a cheat meal every week.
Aye, but if he took it, I'd be like, "Oh, it's fine."
Just like off season. You're like my off season. In prep, 8 weeks out.
Yeah. No, that's what I noticed with my clients is that some of them, like, you give them a cheat meal, they're like, "Oh, fucking brilliant, I'm gonna go do that now," and then you get other ones that are just like, I really don't want you to give me this cheat meal." I've had that. It was a couple of weeks ago actually. One of my clients, he's like 14 weeks out, and I was like, "Mate, we're coming down too fast. Take the night off," and he's like, "No, I'm not taking the night off because I know I'm too scared as to where it's going to go," which is a fair mindset to have, like that kind of loss of control. Because obviously, I think all of us who do this at a high level, we're fairly OCD, you know, fairly organized people, and we don't like chaos. And I think some people just see that post cheat meal phase as possibly something as like a bit of chaos that could ensue. And I mean, like I feel once I've had it, sometimes there was a few occasions where you have one and then you're all these like doubts come straight into your mind, like, what have I done? I can't believe I've just done that. Even though it's planned, it's like it can really mess with you. So I think a lot of people kind of go down the route of that clean sheet, but then sometimes people just need that big bounce of calories, that big hit, just to kind of, you know, rebound the physique quickly, especially someone as big as Greg. So they just need to fill up and be like a big sponge.
Remember that time I tried to eat 2 large Domino's pizzas a week out for my show?
That wasn't the first thing.
That was a mistake.
I mean, you said, tell the story, Greg, because I remember when you told me that, I was like, why?
I think I told you after I tried to eat it, so you didn't stop me. I remember who it was I was watching, and like there was one about like they needed like They like depleted themselves all week, so they wanted to do like a massive carb week before a show, so they were full. Then they would diet themselves in, and then there's like peak towards the show. I was like, that's a brilliant idea. So I was like, what did they order? They were like 2 large Domino's pizza. I was like, oh, fucking hell, I'll give it a try. So I did the same. I got about 1.5, and I was like, oh my god, my stomach was like out to here. It was so fucking bloated and full because I hadn't like had anything like that for like 12 weeks, and then I was just like, lying in pain all night with this in my stomach. And then the next day I felt horrendous, and I had to go like 0 carb for like fucking 3 days to get rid of it. It was a stupid idea.
I feel like it's like that post-show. I feel like when you have some post-show normal food, it makes me feel hungover. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I had a burger and chips post-show in Finland. Next morning, I woke up, honestly, I felt like I'd just done a 3-day bender.
Yeah. Got back into the wine.
After the British, I had 2 burgers from Five Guys plus chips, and then I swear my life, I had 10 filled Krispy Kremes straight after that, and I felt awful. I felt so bad the next day. Then I woke up and I was like, had this you know that Blondie baker, Andy, the one that makes the fudge. This thing weighed 2 pounds, and it was lying on the table when I woke up in the morning. I was looking, I was like, oh, it's fucking mint, and I was still feeling ill. I was like, fuck it. And I got halfway through it, and just the sugar hit me, and I felt even worse. It was so bad.
China, what's your favorite pizza? Like, what's your go-to?
I don't really like pizza, you know.
I'm
not a pizza fan. Well, can we not be friends now?
No,
like I would never ever get a Domino's.
Really?
I'd get like one of those nice pizzas, you know, like one of those stone-baked pizzas.
The Napoli style
gourmet ones.
Yeah, but I would never think like, oh, we'll get, I don't know. I think I'd get like a barbecue chicken one, something like that. But I'm not like it's not like my go-to thing. I definitely get a burger as my cheat meal.
Yeah. No, I go through phases. I go through these phases of like different things that I want, like on prep or like off season or whatever. And for me, it was pizza for a long time. And then I don't honestly remember last time I had a pizza. I really can't remember. Papa John's are always my go-to.
Pizza story is the best.
Yeah. Is this true?
Yes, it's true.
Can we hear?
Andy's outside with his head in the bin, finding the pizza left and ate it.
So 2000. I don't know how people who have been listening to podcasts as a start, right? I've said kind of numerous times that 2014 was my worst year by far. It's the only year that I've not placed in the top 3 of the shows, any shows that I've done. And so basically what happened was I was coaching myself that year. I didn't have a second pair of eyes on me, and my decisions eventually ended up in me just like in a binge cycle.
Yeah.
Right. It's a really, really bad one. And so one of these binges, I was just like, right, I'm going to get a pizza. So I get a pizza ordered to the house. And like halfway through the pizza, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? I need to stop. This is really, really bad now. I knew I was getting out of control. So I put it into like the bin outside, like the wheelie bin, put it in, forget about it. And then you know what it's like. 2 hours later, you start getting hungry again. Cravings start kind of coming up. I'm like, there's a pizza in that bin outside. I was like, don't. So then
you didn't go into the bin for the pizza.
Yeah, so open the bin, look inside. I was like, I can't believe I'm going to do this. I can't believe I'm going to do this. I can't believe it's. And yeah, home straight in, and started eating wheelie bin pizza. I can't fucking describe how fucking messed up I was that year. It was, we talk about binge cycles. It was horrendous. Even the night before the Arnold, I was still binging, thinking I could still hold on to any sort of fucking condition. I was like, what am I doing? I remember being at McDonald's the night before, just like ordering shit after shit. I was like, this must make me look better. Fucking Juan Morel sits there and eats fucking 6,000 calories from McDonald's before his show. And I remember, so I get on stage at the Arnold Europe, and I don't even hit one pose, and I get told to leave the stage. So I was like, fuck. And that was like, to me, that was the turning point for me realizing that I need to get my shit together, basically. And I can't.
That's
like, I can't go back to that place. What?
I think seriously though, so many
Like, this
people
is
have
what-
issues like that, though, with food. You know, you're definitely not on your own with stuff. There's people normally do it post-show.
No. Yeah,
You know?
No, I know other people go through it and that, but it was just one of those ones. I should have called because I moved to Glasgow that year, and I was like 4 weeks out at that point, and I should have just called it a day then. I knew what I was doing. I knew it was bad. I knew I was in a bad place, but I just didn't call it because I didn't have that second pair of eyes going, wait, mate, you need to wrap this in because this is getting way out of hand. So, but by that time, I already eaten that pizza out of a bin. So, I mean,
It's a very good pizza.
just keep going. It was just a Papa John's one, mate. It wasn't even
I've
that
just
good.
been sitting there on the sofa after going, this is what rock bottom feels like.
Yeah, that's my rock bottom, mate. 100%.
This is it.
100%.
I have no idea how you prep yourself though. Like, no idea how anyone preps themselves.
Well, that was just that year. I've had.
How can you look at your? I just don't understand like how anyone can look at themselves unemotionally. Look, I was in emotional turmoil in my prep. I think like Cal hated me, but like, I have a lot of respect for people who have that ability to do it for themselves, because there is no way I could do it for myself. No way.
Yeah, there's only been 1 year where I've handed everything over to a coach, and that was when I worked with Patrick Cheer. I work with Nick Vandal now, and I have done since I was 22. But Nick and I have like, he doesn't go, here's your plan, go and do it. I kind of say to him, here's what I want to do based off how I think I look. Do you agree? And then Nick will be like, yeah, I agree, or no, change this, do that. So that's kind of how I prep now and how I do my off season now. I like having an aspect of control on my physique. So sometimes I came back after I left Patrick and went back to Nick. I came back to the Arnold US Amateur, and I thought that was one of my best looks ever. And that's basically just because I felt I had control of what I had to do. So
yeah.
But it does get tiresome when you're constantly like thinking about, is that the right decision? Even if Nick approves, it's like, is that the right decision though? Because it was my decision. So it does get quite tiresome. Whereas when I was with Patrick, my head was pretty clear for most of it. Because I just had someone going, right, X, Y, Z, do that, see you later. So
I just like someone having full control, control of it all, and just say yes and I'll do it, and not make any decisions.
I've came like that. I was like Andy before, where I do like to have a little, because I did prep myself for my first 2 shows, and then I was like, I kind of liked having input. But then when I handed the reins to you, Andy, I was like, oh, this is actually okay.
Yeah. You learn to just be like comfortable with someone taking the stress away, basically.
Probably once you see what they're saying and doing is like working well, you're like, oh fuck it, I just hand the reins to them. Just like the stress kind of just leaves you of overthinking.
Yeah. Cal, I swear though, I'm such a robot. Cal could go and tell me on prep to stand on one leg outside Tesco, and I would be on one leg outside Tesco.
It's like the perfect client.
So
well, a perfect client in some ways, they're not a perfect client in others. Like before I went on stage at Wigan, right? I'm not joking. I was having a small breakdown backstage. And I was about to get on the stage, and like as Cal Lacey stood next to me, and I'm like, okay, and I was like, Cal, I was like, I forgot how to pose. Literally, as we stand up, walking up the steps, and Cal's like, by this point, he's the most chilled man ever, and he's like, get on the stage. And in my head now, it's like, imagine what was Cal gonna do? Like run through like mandatory figure poses backstage with me.
You know, that's a sign of a good coach where he just remains so calm and collected when you're going off your head.
I couldn't go. I don't think I could go with anyone else now, because he's like just what I need. Like chill.
It's funny. It's funny when it's funny when you have like a client in front of you, they're just breaking down. You're just like, you're fine. Shut up. Just leave it. It's definitely the best place to be when you've got someone in your corner like that. Whereas imagine your coach started panicking. Imagine you started going like,
I think some coaches just like hyped, aren't they? Some coaches are just either are like very hyped and very in your face and very like telling what to do. I don't need to be told what to do. I don't need to be shouted at. I just need to be like, I do this. I will do whatever you say. Just tell me it's going to be okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
Tell me it's going to be all right.
How do you balance your dentistry and being a coach as well?
I do it at the weekend. So
okay.
my aim, so I only work part-time as dentist anyway. I work 4 days. I hope in the next year or so, I just want to drop that to 3 days, because I'm trying to like grow my coaching, which I do at the weekend now, and then work 4 days as a dentist. Hopefully I can drop that down to 3 days and my coaching goes up with it. When my coaching goes up a bit, hopefully. To be fair, I want to have like the ability to be a little bit more flexible with my life, because obviously working a 9 to 5 when there's no real flexibility with it. So that's the aim in time, but I'm kind of at that awkward phase where I'm just doing a lot now of both. You know what I mean? Like, so, but it's manageable. Like coaching to me, it's just, I enjoy it. I don't really see it as a job. I just enjoy it.
Yeah. I think we can all agree with you that one. Yeah.
Dentistry is full on. Dentistry is the job, you know. So
Yeah.
I do it on a weekend, but
yeah. See, when you're away to your show this year, obviously you have to book time off, but then you say like, if you don't like what happens at that show, you'll do the show the week later. What would you say to your work? You just like go in the next day and say,
so basically,
end off.
Yeah. Basically, I've just got a new job actually, which I start in May, and they headhunted me, and I said to them, and I didn't really want to move practices. So one of my agreements with moving was like, look, I'm a professional bodybuilder and I want a bit of flexibility. Yeah. So I want to be able to take time off short notice. That's literally one of my agreements, because it's a big thing to me. It was a nightmare this year, because I was like, Cal literally about 3 weeks out from the first show was like, let's do Finland. Because my original plan was do the MK Classic and then do British finals 2 weeks later. And about 3 weeks out, Cal, being Cal, who thinks that you don't have a real job, was like, right, okay, we'll go Finland in 4 weeks or whatever it was. So then I had to like try and work that with work, and that was really hard, cancelling patients and all that. So they said that they got more flexibility with me this time. So the practice I work at currently is really small. So if I cancel patients, they literally don't get seen. Whereas this practice got like eight dentists, so it can be distributed a bit more better than it was in my current job. Yeah. That's why I'd like to have work less as a dentist. So I don't have that issue quite as much, really.
Yeah. Was that right?
Yeah, like Carl's like, you can see when he speaks to you, it's like you must think like you don't have a job and you've got like unlimited funds.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
If they do something, it's like, oh, by the way, we might do like these shows and this shows, and you're like, fucking hell, it's going to be thousands of pounds. It's like, you don't have to think about it before he says it. Just like, this is what we're doing.
So, China, I'll put you a bit on the spot here. Like, if you've got a girl who's going for like our first show, because obviously we're approaching the contest prep season now, the season now, and there's a lot of people doing like their first preps, a lot of girls doing their first preps. What advice would you give to girls doing their first preps, and just relation to everything? Like three top tips if you got them.
The only thing I would say to people is focus on being the best version of yourself, and don't compare yourself to others, because you've got no idea. You've got no idea what people can look phenomenal on Instagram, right? And you've got no idea what they look like in real life until you stand next to them on stage. Spend less time on Instagram, focus on yourself, and tick your boxes that your coach tells you to do. And that's all you can do. And fate, and you can't control the girl that stands next to you on stage. So just focus on being the best version of yourself. Because if some genetic freak turns up, they're going to beat you, you know, anyway. So you may as well just turn up to be the best version of you, because that stress is going to ruin your physique. So that would be 100%. What I would advise people to do, because you can't control anything else. You can't control the girl next to you or what happens on the day. You can just control what you do for those 16, 20 weeks and just get it all done, so you don't regret anything and wish that I could have done more.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes, pretty stellar advice. I'll give you that one. It's great. Jack, your turn. What have you been up to?
Oh, mine's always boring because I'm just on off season. I got drugs.
People want to hear me.
Drugs. Yes, we're back on this week, so first week.
Oh, right. Oh, right. I don't know why I didn't put two and two together
there. Yeah, so back on this week. So other than that, nothing else has changed really. Everything's gone up in the gym pretty consistently. Yeah, just really, really, really boring. Just full all the time. Not quite struggling to get food in yet, but getting close to that point. The Rennies are out now and then, but no, just boring off season.
No trips to the pump room.
The pump room, yeah. I need to take you there sometime. Yeah, that sounded really bad.
Holidays.
Right now, 5-7 training days, so still room to go up. It's not bad. I've been hard on that before, but it's 5-7 going in comfortably, which is different to the last time. I sort of struggled with that, so that will go up. But yeah, it's going down easy enough. So I've switched. We switched to salmon, so I've got 3 salmon meals a day now. A day, which is
3 salmon meals a day. How do you afford that?
And that was my choice.
Honestly,
I was just struggling with steak, so I switched. I already had 2 salmon meals a day, so I switched the steak meal out for that. I just find it's easier to eat, less to chew. Goes down easy. So, but that's about the only kind of change this week. So,
I don't think I've ever heard anyone
actually buy anything. They catch it themselves.
We just catch it up here. Yeah.
Catching the river.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's handy. It's fucking expensive. I think it's like, well, I buy it from the fish man, so it's probably about 15 quid a day. So 17 quid a day on salmon.
17 quid a day
on salmon.
I have salmon once a day, and I was almost going to ask Cal to swap that out because I was thinking that was stingy.
I remember when I started with Ben, he's like salmon, primo, DH, and all these saying that. I was like fucking young at the time. I was like, holy fuck, like it's just like overtime.
Thanks for all that, mate. Yeah.
You know, when I went to Denmark, because it's obviously very expensive there, Jamie's mad for salmon. He loves salmon because it fucking digests easy. So that's all I ate for like 4 days. And I only shop like within walking distance, like a Spar. So you can imagine how much each salmon was costing me. It was almost like a tenner per meal. I was there for like 4 days. I was like, fuck me. It cost me a fortune. I was like hundreds of pounds on salmon.
Yeah.
How much were you eating a day like?
I must have been having like maybe 4 salmon meals a day.
Really?
Yeah. And the other 2 were like either chicken or like turkey mince.
Yeah. What was Jamie's thought process behind that?
The salmon.
Yeah.
He's just mad on salmon because he loves, like, you know how he's like mad on like sushi for like refeeds and stuff like that, because he just thinks it's so clean and it like digests super easy. He actually buys what's it, sashimi?
Oh, sashimi, yeah.
He buys that, and like that's fucking expensive. He'll eat that like all day long. I was like, I can't afford that, because he actually told me to go buy at one point. I was like, mate, I'm not paying that for salmon every day. No way. And he's just like, oh, just get normal salmon, because that's all I ate before the Arnold's as well. He was like, oh, go and get like salmon and rice and everything. That's all I was like eating. But it does, like, as soon as you eat it, salmon's just so light, it just fucking digests.
Oh yeah, easiest thing to eat.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You not end up stinking of salmon?
Oh, it fucking
The
stinks.
apartment was stinking of salmon.
Your house must stink.
No, I mean, does your sweat not stink though, eating that much salmon?
No, well, like asparagus, like. Nah. I've not. Nah. Maybe I do. Maybe no one's just told me. Absolute reek of fish. No one's told me.
That permanent salmon smell just lingering about.
Go in the gym, everyone's like, "Fuck's sake, this you can't sin."
Nah, it's not for me. I've got salmon in once a day, but it's only like 130 gram fillet. That's enough. That's more than enough. It's just the stink. I can't deal with it.
Fish man though, Andy.
I was until recently, and I pulled that out because what happened was, right. So I get my fish from my fishmonger, and usually because I just work around the corner, like I can usually come back, get the order that he's left at my front door, bag it and put it in the freezer. But this time round, I don't know why I couldn't get to the order quickly. So by the time I got to the fish, most of the ice was gone, and it had this really odd smell, right? So I'm like, fuck, I'm not wasting it. There's about 80 quid's worth of fish there. So I froze all of it. And then when I defrosted it, put it in like the frying pan, I was like, what is that fucking smell? It was like, it must just be what rot smells like. It was just disgusting. And I was like, it's fine. I'll just put macadamia oil, mix it all into the rice, and it'll be fine. And it was every single one, the whole time, holding my nose just to get it down, like just chugging it with Pepsi and stuff just to get it down. And ever since that meal, I've just like, I'm not touching fucking haddock again until I really have to. Just a thought. And like, what? So do you know how I put parsley through my rice? Like I've always done that, yeah. So now the smell of parsley reminds me of that fish. So even now when I'm having turkey mince and rice, I'm like, that is fucking disgusting. That reminds me of that. So I'm not touching white fish.
Did you just say you put parsley in cream of rice?
Well, rice.
No, white rice.
Oh, right. I was thinking, why do you put parsley in cream of rice? That's disgusting.
No, I think
That's new.
That's way worse than 4 salmon.
But is that a Scottish thing? That's a
thing.
We're all massive.
No, I just take jasmine rice, and then after I've drained it, I just sprinkle chopped parsley over the rice, mash it all in. It just gives it a bit more taste than just kind of bland rice. So
I've hit that point in prep, you know, where like you make your cream of rice like really fancy. And
yeah,
you, like, pour,
fluffy
like, over it, and then the drizzled almond butter at that point. It's fucking looking at it, it's mint.
Who was it that had the Instagram page for the cream of rice bowls? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Was it Christian Physique Collective boy? It was like a whole page on cream of rice bowls, and some of them were fucking mad, like mad.
I can't. So I can only eat cream of rice on prep. Like it's like
on
prep, but off season I can't swallow it. But on prep, it's like put a little bit of baking powder in it, boil it up, let it settle down, put it in the freezer, make sure it's perfect, then eat it with a little tiny spoon.
Yeah, it was like
I would just, like cut my banana and like place it perfectly over the top and everything. So
the cream of rice days. Remember stage at the Arnold UK, and Patrick had me eat that cream of rice, banana, fucking half a jar of peanut butter and stuff, and you were like, what the fuck are you eating? I'm like, sharp, don't say anything, it's fucking the best thing ever. You were like, you're gonna bloat on that. I was like, you know what, I don't fucking care. This is the best thing I've had in about fucking 6 weeks. Oh yeah,
like
when the cream of rice starts
like
getting
scraping around the corners.
I was
like fuck you all, Andy. They go on stage, you're like, shut up.
That must be a Patrick thing, yeah. Ben had me with a sweet potato, banana, and honey in a bowl. Must be the same sort of script. It was all right.
Yeah, that'd be all right. Just fucking absolute carb loaded.
Yeah, I mean, it did, because like you're just so depleted by that point. It went straight through me anyway. It wasn't even enough. Did nothing. I started eating your muffins 5 minutes later. So I don't think there's anything's happening in the world of bodybuilding just now, because what am I fucking talking about? Arnold just happened.
Yeah.
Are you okay for time, China, by the way?
Yeah, I'm good.
So what are we thinking about the Arnold top 3? To start with open, obviously.
Very accurate once again. I wouldn't have given it any other way.
So you would have minded if Andrew Jack had won?
I think he should have, because his back's not there. He didn't have the condition to the glutes and hamstrings just yet. His back was vastly improved. Front on, he's just phenomenal. Like looking at him structure wise, like the 3D, the roundness of that muscle is phenomenal, but he just needs more thickness to it to keep up with Samson. Samson was way thicker in lots of shots, but Samson was a clear winner to me.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a bit of controversy with Nick. People not agreeing with Nick's placing. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I think his condition was probably the best out of the 3, but he's just a completely different structure, so I can understand why people are saying that.
Samson's so nice to look at.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's just like a bigger Flex Wheeler.
Yeah. The one where the front double, if you see Nick and Samson next to each other, it's like night and day.
Oh yeah. Like
Samson's got such a small waist.
Yeah.
Samson's got a beautiful physique, I think. You know, I met him at he came to an open day at modified gym in Wales, and he's just got. I just think some bodybuilders, in my opinion, just don't still have a beautiful physique, but he just does. It's so aesthetic. Like you want to look at it, you know.
Yeah, I was surprised.
There wasn't any figure at the Arnold, was there?
No, there's not. To be fair, I only ever follow figure. I'm really bad. So no, there's not, which is a shame, really.
Imagine Salmon waking up the next day.
They have fitness, I know, yeah, which is it's weird that they don't have it, but because it's not like it's not like a small. Well, it's not a huge class, but it's not a small class. I think it's bigger than fitness, isn't it? Really?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Way more people do it than fitness. So it's a shame that they didn't have it. Really, I don't know why.
Yeah.
But there's not that many. It's like figures not at loads of pro shows either, which I didn't realize until I was looking at shows. There's like so many pro shows, but there's not that many figure ones, to be honest.
It's odd because if you go back to say like to the late 80s, early 90s, the standard of female bodybuilding is what figure is, in my opinion, is now. So it's odd how that class isn't just like promoted way more than it actually is.
Yeah. So, I know.
You know what I mean? But that's odd because I was just looking through there and just realised it was what it seems. So yeah. Right, and then in fourth we have Ramy. So that was obviously the big kind of discussion going into this, whether he was going to bring it back off the back of a poor showing at the Olympia. What do you think? What do you all think about it? Yeah, it definitely improved, but I don't know.
He's just not what he was. He's not what he was. He'll never have it back, I don't think.
Yeah.
It's caught in 8, like Father Times has caught him. It's a shame.
I think it's like
everybody.
Yeah. It's it's just like it's a case of someone who's been too big for too long, in my opinion. He's been too big for too long. I mean, when he jumped in the scene, 2012, and he wasn't that far off where he is now, size-wise. So it's just a case of your body just can't hold on to that much longer. Things start to break, things start to not fire the same way, and I think that's it. I don't know if we're seeing. I don't want to write him off because, as much as I think we all appreciate more like the more aesthetic physiques, with Ramy still embodies that like freak that we all kind of like love to see, like entertainment value wise, like a Marcus Rule and even a Nick Walker and stuff like that. So it is a shame that kind of things are going backwards. But what do you think? What do you all think his next step should be? Do you think he should try again for Olympia or try for more pro shows?
If he wants to, his heart's still there, then 100%. But I just don't see it coming back.
Yeah, I don't see it
kind of far gone. I don't see it getting corrected.
Yeah, especially when we're starting to maybe see a shift back to the style of like Sean Roden physiques, that type of physique. So yeah, it's a shame to see like someone at that prestige and being obviously 2 times Olympia coming, probably not getting what he wants anymore. But I guess that happens sometimes.
Imagine Samson waking up the next day knowing he just fucking won 300k.
I know.
Yes, please.
See, if you win as a professional athlete, is that taxed in the UK?
Are you asking me?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I'm sure. I don't know if you would get that all, would you? Surely. No, because it's prize money. It's like anything. I think if it's a prize money through that kind of scheme, I think it is tax free.
I'm intrigued now. I'm intrigued.
It's not like a wage. You've won. That's like saying if you won a car, you've got to fucking pay someone else on it.
Maybe pay capital gains on it.
Oh, now we're getting technical. All prize money earned from UK performances is subject to UK taxation in full. So does that mean if he wins in the US that he can come back with all his money?
I'm not sure. I never paid tax.
Yeah, it's taxed. It'll be taxed in some way.
CG.
Still, it's not a bad payday. Yeah?
No.
Not a bad payday.
Right.
I didn't even know it was that much they won. That's mad. I didn't even know.
Yeah, it was put up this year. Yeah. Yeah.
I was surprised he never got the 10 grand for the posing, because Andrew Jack won it.
I don't think he could give it to him after he just won 300k, Jack.
I think
Mind you, Andrew
that's
Jack
what Dave
did the
Palumbo
splits,
was
didn't
saying. Yeah. That's what Dave Palumbo was saying, though. He was like, the most muscular award and the best poser, they're like the awards that are given, like, by the way, you're not first place.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of like what they hand out. Yeah. So, I mean, like, the amount of times like Branch Warren like won the most muscular, and then when he started winning the Arnold, he didn't get the most muscular award. So it's kind of like, here's your consolation prize. So, but no, I thought the Arnold was good this year. I really enjoyed it. It was definitely hyped up to be a big one, and it definitely kind of delivered, I thought. So it's exciting to see. So, and obviously going forward this season as well, it's going to. We're going to obviously see if Samson can. Do you think Samson can outdo Derek and Hadi?
I think if he keeps making the same rate of progress, 100%. He will be Mr. Olympia.
What's he got? 8 months
before Andrew Jack will.
Yeah.
He's got a lot. I think he's still got a lot of work to do. As much as he's got a beautiful physique and he looks good as he does, he's got a lot of tissue. I think he needs to add.
Yeah.
Keep up with Samson.
Yeah, it's terrifying that someone that big is being told you're not big enough. You know what I mean?
It's
also seeing him in the flesh, you're like that. Like,
yeah,
what the fuck is a normal human supposed to do against that?
Have you not seen like when Andrew Jack does like his front double bicep? His arms just look so fucking long. There's just so much gap still to fill because his structure is just so wide and widey almost. He's a big guy, like, so he has a lot of tissue he needs to fill that frame.
It was just a reaction backstage to the Arnold, like US, just like that. Everyone's just like that. All eyes on him. You can't believe he's a real thing. You know, he's like, no way is he a human being. But I give him his dues. I think if Andrew Jack makes the changes that he needs to make over the next X amount of months, whatever it is, before the Olympia, I don't know. I think it could be an exciting one. I think he could do it, but we'll just have to wait and see. But it's mad how, like, cause I've said this in the podcast before, like, what I witnessed of Andrew Jack, like, training in Dubai, it seemed very half-arsed and very much like it came to him without much effort. I think now, and obviously everyone in Dubai, like, kisses his arse, I think now that he's been exposed to quote-unquote, like, losses, that's actually given him a bit of fire now, whereas before he would just walk over everyone and, you know, just demolish everyone. And now he's like, right, if I'm going to take this, I need to actually beat guys like Derek and Hadi, who are just like some of the best genetics you've ever seen, combined with that work rate. So I think that's, obviously I don't know him personally, obviously, but I'm sure that's kind of the mindset shift that you're seeing now. So, which is scary, because when I competed against him, I was like, he's the next Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah.
100%. There's no doubt about it. He's the next Ronnie Coleman. Sure. Yeah, I'm not jealous at all. Yeah, we're coming up to, I think we've just done over an hour, so we like to keep this an hour, China, just to kind of keep people like awake, basically. So, we really appreciate you coming on. We really appreciate you coming on. And, we're all very excited to see your results from this year, and hopefully you get that Olympia qualification and
I know, hopefully
yourself to the next level. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem at all. Hopefully, we'd like to wait all guests. Like, we want people to come back on and discuss things. Maybe closer to your shows, you can kind of give us some insight into how terrible you feel and how many breakdowns you've had and things like that, and we can cover all bases closer to the show.
Plethora of breakdowns, and I look half dead. I'll probably cry in the middle of the podcast. Help me.
I'm waiting for Greg's first breakdown, or your first rant. Actually, Greg, you've not been on a rant yet. Not had a rant yet.
Not a little one today.
Nah, we won. Wasn't that big? That's a standard.
Yeah.
Are you still a bit fat yet?
Huh?
Are you still a bit fat yet?
Oh yeah, I'll be fat till a week out of my head. Like
yeah, I look forward to it, Greg. And then Jack, you continue to be just big and round and all fat. Yeah, fucking fat.
I'd be like falling asleep middle of the podcast from the carb coma.
Yeah, loving it.
Everyone who's listening and watching, we appreciate you lasting this long. And again, we appreciate China coming on, giving us her insights and obviously introducing her to our audience. So be sure to subscribe, like, share, and all that social media stuff. And we'll see you next time. Cheers, guys.
Yes, thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks.